Allen Kendrick Wright was an American reverend and writer. He was born in 1861 in Pottawatomie County, Kansas, the son of Turner Wright and Isabel R. Wright. In 1885, he married Emma Thomas. He died in 1947 in Long Beach, California. In 1909, he published his first book, To the Poles by Airship or Round the World Endways. We will cover his 1922 Dalleszona and the Seventh Treasure. Airman Ben Ego Saxon, fresh home from the war in Europe, is hired by adventurer Highfinger to use his airplane to help him recover a cache of old Toltec gold in Mexico that Highfinger totally has the right to, despite the local Yaqui natives having shot at him the last time he tried to get it. He did bury a Yaqui prince who gave him a ring to pass on to his people, but the shooting didn't give him much time to actually approach. Highfinger and Saxon both go back there, the former wanting to secure his former wife in her old age and to use the rest of the money to find Spot Black, the man who drew him into vice and debauchery and ruined their married life, so he can kill him. As they approach the gold hoard, they are taken prisoner by the Yaquis. But then, as the Yaqui princess Dalleszona arrives, they are all assaulted by a band of masked robbers headed by, of all people, Spot Black. So Highfinger can cut him to ribbons before expiring himself. Dalleszona takes a liking to Saxon, shows him the ancient stockpile of Toltec gold, and regales us with inane poetry the author decided he was good at writing, supposedly from an ancient Toltec master poet, and he uses it to build up a new Toltec nation called Chalcedon, and when the Mexican army comes to force the Yaquis to be their slaves, he has planes drop acid bombs on all their officers until they all die. Saxon becomes chancellor of the new nation, then he takes Dalleszona flying, falls in love with her, then she nearly dies when they fly over the US border, and they meet a Nicaraguan psychic who shows them the spirits of all their ancestors, and they get married. There is some incident early on, but there is so much blathering about ideal education, government, etc., and the ending where China and India both come to beg the Toltecs for help with world peace seems really naive. Josephine White Bates was a Canadian-American writer, writing as Mrs. E. Lyndon Bates. She was born in 1857 in Portage de Fort near Ottawa, the daughter of George E. White and Mary White. She studied at Lake Forest, Illinois and Lake Forest College. In 1881, she married hydraulic engineer Lyndon Wallace Bates of New York. She was a member of the preparedness movement, wishing for the US to be prepared for war following the outbreak of World War I. Her son, Lyndon Bates Jr., died in the sinking of the Lusitania. She died in Yorktown in 1934. We will review her 1892 Armai and others. Winged Victory is where the title of the book comes from, though the story is not named as such. An old man is dying and tells his followers of his many past lives, all the way to ancient Egypt where he was Armai, a priest who devised the very first pyramid, and who fell in love with his fated soulmate Nahar, a prophetess of the god Set. He ignores how her office makes her set aside from human love forever, takes hold of her and would have taken her to freedom before the pair of them get stabbed to death by the guards. In their next life they are Jews on the way from Egypt. She defends a man whom the tribe would stone to death unfairly, and so Armai defends her and they both get stoned to death. In The Jester, he is a lowly jester to a noble lord, whose wife is his Nakar. As his master saved his life, he does not reveal to her who he is until his lord is dead. But after one brief kiss, he goes to save her drowning child and dies in the attempt. This being a competently done reincarnation novella, most of the book is taken up by two contemporary romantic melodramas. The first not as tedious as the second, but still nothing interesting at all.